Yeah, we're live streaming. Let me record on the same time. Hey everyone, welcome. Let me see, where is our YouTube? I'm waiting for the YouTube screen to show as well. Bear with me 1 minute. We're live streaming. Okay, so here I need to mute it and put our 1 moment. This is just like a mini operation. They put this into our playlist so it can be showed on our YouTube channel. Yeah, so we're live, everyone. Today, welcome back to our abundance reading, day 121. Yay, we're continuing on this book. We're on a totally 365 days challenge. And today is our 121. And we're on the 5th book from Oprah Winfrey, The Wisdom of Sundays, Life-Changing Insights from Super Soul Conversations. This is her best-selling book, #1, New York Times. And we are in the middle of chapter 9, fulfillment. So today we want to continue, okay? And we are both on a Zoom and also live stream to YouTube. And later we will, after this finished, we will go to Instagram. Normally we will have a few minutes, just within short 5 minutes around that, to have a highlights, a summary from what we just read, and all this like just not reading and inspiration sharing, and we pick up with just one at least of the most impressive highlights to give to our Instagram community, right? So you're welcome to follow us both on or subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can have the whole reading and inspiration sharing journey, and also follow us on Instagram so that you could get a daily short, quick highlights. If you do not have enough time, you can go to this short highlights. And if you have more time, then you are encouraged to come to the YouTube channel to get the whole content. Okay, all right. So let's continue. On the page 182, the will is so undefilable and can push you so far beyond. I've had sports scientists, the best of them, write me and say, I'm sorry to tell you this is humanly impossible. And I write back and say to them, you have no idea then, you're just doing your little studies on what the heart can do and what the lungs can do. I'm talking to you about what the spirit can do, and that's not measurable. The spirit is larger than the body. Find a way. It's from Diana Liad. That's very brave, right? You're telling the doctors that they're just studying a little area, but our spirit, no doctors, almost like no doctors directly working at the spirit level because no doctor can give you prescription on the spiritual level, right? But the spiritual can do what can do is like unmeasurable. That's very interesting. I hope later we could start something like a full story of that. I believe there's some miracle story behind Dan. Next one from India Ari. The way I visualized it was I had built this big building, and it was pretty from the outside. It was shiny and pretty, and in my mind, it was round, like one of those round high rises. But inside, it was just stuff all over the place, and people just, running among. That's how it showed up in my meditation. And when I decided I was going to tear that building down, it was because I had this clarity that 10 years from now, I'm going to be in my mid-40s. She's only mid-30s. Okay, and I can't have that shiny building on outside. That's a mess inside. It almost makes me want to cry just thinking about it, because I didn't know how I was going to do it. I was afraid. I didn't know how to run my business. I was afraid, but I knew that I couldn't keep doing the same thing, or I was going to be off the path of my destiny, and that's death. It's not even being alive if you're not doing what you are here to do. This is very interesting. Actually, today is our Momentum Monday. We were talking about finding your path. So resonate with what India Ari is talking about, the path, right? If you're not doing what you're meant or supposed to be doing here, like by your call, you are off the path of your destiny. And she could not bear that. But for her, it would be like a death. So it's definitely, for this chapter is about fulfillment. And how you can get to your fulfillment is really get on the path that You're doing what you are here to do, according to your call, according to your purpose here. Next one from Jeanette Monk. Oprah asked, so the reason why this is to me a deeply spiritual conversation is because the search for your authentic self is a search that all of us hold as the pathway on our journey to becoming the highest version of ourselves. And I think it's so interesting that it took you the time that it took you to become comfortable with telling your story. And when you finally did, for Marie Claire in 2011, very few people knew at the time that you were trans. And you kept it quiet because you didn't want to become othered. And now we are sitting here on Super Soul Sunday talking about what that all means. Do you feel that you are now being othered, or are you transcended that? Or have you transcended that? Jeanette Mark said, I don't know if I've transcended it yet. I still think that for most people, the most interesting part about me is my transness. And so for me, there is an othering about that. But I think there's a lot of power in saying that. I will proudly and unapologetically embrace that part of my identity for once. The part of my identity that I was taught growing up to be silent about and ashamed of. And so to own that label and say that it is mine, and I will stand here in that complicatedness of existing as a person, as a trans woman, I think that there is power in that. But there is still an othering attached to any kind of labels that qualify personhood or humanness. Oprah said, but I do think we're on the verge of a new day of thinking about the sexuality and gender, and not just the sexuality and gender. I think this applies to any person who is human, because we get others in multiple ways throughout our lives. And your desire to redefine realness, I think, is what everybody is looking for. Do you agree? Janet said, I do. We are all searching for truth. I think there is so much that people are telling you about who you are, and that's where the othering comes in. I was constantly, as a young person, navigating society, trying to figure out who I was in relation to what people were telling me I should be. And so for me, redefining realness was about tapping into my most authentic self. Who am I to me? For me, realness is about authenticity. It's about searching and seeking truth. It's about being okay in the nuance of the messiness of figuring out who you are when you may not have the answers yet. Oprah said, the first time you looked in the mirror after your sex reassignment surgery, you said you felt authenticated and closer to whole for the first time in your life. Was that an overwhelming moment? Janet said, it was. I was 18 years old and I made so many sacrifices and compromises to go get my girl. And I got my girl. I went out in the world and I got her. I liberated her. I went through an underground railroad of resources to get to that place where I could stand in front of that mirror, naked for the first time, and lay bare in my truth and say, this is who I am. And I did that on my own. And so to have that at 18, that gift, I felt nothing could stop me after that. That's a great brief, like finding her true self. Now, Jack Canfield, my belief is that the whole purpose of life is to gain mastery, master our emotions, our finances, our relationships, our consciousness, through meditation, things like that. And it's not about the stuff. All the stuff can be taken away, you know. People lose their fortunes. They lose their reputation. Beautiful spouse die or leave you. But who you become in the process can never be taken away. Never. You are mastering through the process of overcoming these obstacles that you face in life. I believe we all have unlimited possibilities to become pretty much anything we want, because I believe you're not given a dream unless you have the capability to fulfill it. I love this. Let me underline that. Always have my pencil handy. You are not given a dream unless you have the capacity to fulfill it. That's a great news, right? So when you have the dream, that means you also have the capacity to fulfill it. It's beautiful. Okay, you won't be allowed to have it. Now you may need to learn new things. You may need to mentor, get mentored. You may need to team up, but you have the capacity to do anything you can dream up. Next one from Bishop T.D. Jakes. We are busier than any other generation we have seen in the last 300 to 400 years. We're so busy. Think about internet, right? Internet make everybody's like the speed super fast, and now everybody's attention span is shorter. Like now we're busier, and we think the social media thing as well. And we think because we are busy, we are effective. But I want you to challenge your schedule for a minute and ask yourself, are you really being effective? Or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and taxes you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness for being effective? This is a wonderful question. I even felt that today this evening when I was taking a break after whole day busyness, right? And I took a break and get out from my home office, get into the community, walk in the community, like the sidewalks, breathe the fresh air and look at the blue sky. It's still like before the sunset. And the blue sky, clouds, because yesterday, 2 days ago, we had a big rains, and now the sky was quite beautiful. It's like a very fresh. You can feel like it's a whole environment is quite refreshed, and all this community kind of trees, flower trees, and lawns, everything, and then the birds singing. I feel like, oh gosh, I just get into a real world. I felt like the whole day, right? I was working on a computer, like computer now, and now it's dark. Outside it's dark. It's midnight. I could not get out. But during the daytime, not evening time, I just felt like this is like life should be. I should have been staying in this kind of like a nature, stay with God, stay with this just a natural life. Majority of my time, instead of staying at home on my computer. I was thinking that way. So this definitely reminded me like what it means effective. And some other people define it as like a green time. Green time. What is a green time? Some people may define that as the time they are connecting with the customers and making money. But now I would also say that green time should also include the time you feel like reconnected to yourself and to the world. Reconnection with your creator, and that recreation with the truth, with the real life. And that's really like it's natural part of our life. And we are now, so many people are hiding in our like room, in the office, in just like on the computer. We just like more and more in this virtual world than in the real life, right? So this is definitely just say the question, are you substituting business and all the chaos that goes along with business for being effective? Maybe not, really maybe not. We should seriously reflect on how much time we should like balance. Maybe how much time, at least I feel like at least 1 hour a day. If we cannot stay outside, that means we are missing something, right? So this is definitely a great reminder from Bishop T.D. Jakes. And by the way, this picture, I love this picture with these two horses, even though they are in the slow, but it's like they are in the nature. They are in the freedom, right? That's a freedom. And now from Daniel Pink. We use an exercise with these 2 parts. The first is you ask yourself, what is your sentence? This comes from a famous story about Claire Booth Luce, who said to President Kennedy, hey, a great man is 1 sentence. You don't have a sentence, you've got a paragraph, and that doesn't work. And if you really want to be great, Lincoln had 1 sentence. He preserved the Union and freed the slaves. That's his biggest like let's see, his mark of his life. Good sentence. FDR had a sentence. He lifted us out of a Great Depression and helped us win a world war. That's amazing. Let me highlight this. So Lincoln's sentence is that he preserved the Union and freed the slaves. FDR He lifted us out of a Great Depression and helped us win the World War. So, and she went to Kennedy and said, listen, so this is a Claire, let me see, Claire must be Kennedy's like a counselor, right? It's just like a mentor. She went to Kennedy and said, listen, a good man is one sentence. A great person is a sentence. And I find that really useful in sort of orienting our lives to our purpose and asking ourselves, what's your sentence? And I think that's really clarifying for people. Wonderful, wonderful question. I want to ask myself this. Let me keep reading and then later I will answer this. And I would encourage you to bear that in your mind and maybe you will answer that as well. Oprah said, do you know what mine is? I was thinking about this last night. I was thinking, well, what I want it to be is I teach people to lead their best lives by leading my own. Actually, it's not. Oprah Winfrey is just not that one. I feel like this one is not expressing her like that kind of like a TV or show icon. Let's see. She said, I teach people to lead their best lives by leading my own. Okay. And Daniel said, wow, that's a good sentence. Oprah said, and what's your sentence? Daniel said, man, I don't want to follow that one. My sentences, as I thought about this, was you wrote books that help people understand the world a little more clearly and live their lives a little more fully. So basic things is like he read books, and Oprah is like teach people, because Oprah's first passion, similar to mine, is also on teaching. I feel like mine is mine. Okay, so Oprah said, oh, that's good. Okay, let me, before I continue this one, let me answer this question first. My sentence, and you write this down. I remember I had this, I create thought leaders. If I get to the essence, it's like I empower and create thought leaders to transform people's lives for the abundance of all. Let's close to it. Okay, let me write that down. I empower and create thought leaders to impact and transform more lives for the abundance of all. Because abundance of all, that's my movement. Let me put my name there, Mrs. Spring. So abundance of all is my movement, is my purpose, is my ultimate vision and purpose. So here I empower and create thought leaders to impact and transform more lives for the abundance of all. That's so far the one I feel like it's great for me. How do you think about that? Feel free to comment on my video, let me know. And I would also like to see what's yours. Okay, feel free to comment and I will always answer. And I always love to have this kind of, interaction with you and to understand each other and really aspire each other. Daniel said the second question is really important because it helps us get better and move toward mastery day to day. And so the second question to ask yourself at the end of the day, was I better today than yesterday? So let me put a mark on this kind of a first question and the second question. So the first question, what's your sentence, actually is to really summarize your essence. The second question was, I better today than yesterday. It's just like at the end of the day, right? You summarize, you review your day, if it's meaningfully lived, because that's really all we can ask for. And what I have found when I ask myself at the end of the day, was I better today than yesterday, is that many times the answer is no. I feel like everything you see, I'm reading, I'm sharing, I'm creating, I'm always like trying to align with my purpose, my vision, my passion. I feel like every day I'm becoming better and better. So majority of times, so my answer is yes. But I found that the answer is really no 2 days in a row. If the answer is no when I get to go to sleep, I'm just a little ticked off and wake up the next morning with a little bit more resolve. Like, oh, wait, I wasn't better today than yesterday. That was a waste. Let's not do that again. And that's how we make progress. We do it slowly, step by step. So that's great. I actually especially appreciate the first question. What's your sentence? This is almost like we are doing a niche exercises, niche statement exercise. We ask everybody to summarize what's your niche when they're doing a brief like a elevator speech, or elevator pitch, right? And to introduce yourself, you need to know that kind of one sentence. So me, mine is this. This definitely could be for today's highlights, right? Daniel Coleman. By the way, I would encourage my audience, if you hear all this, each one, whichever give you like great inspirations and aha moment, please comment, and then that will help me to also to decide which one would be our highlights today to summarize, okay? And I would definitely like to refer to what's your inspirations and aha moments you can share with our community to inspire more people. So thank you in advance for your sharing and interaction as well. Next one from Daniel Coleman. Coleman. I once was giving a talk to a room full of CEOs, and I said, how many of you were valedictorians, like the smartest kid in your class? 200-300 people. 3 hands went up in the room. It's not related. This is the big myth that the book shattered. It was an eye-opener for me that your IQ, your academic abilities, your cognitive brilliance are not what's going to matter the most. Actually, that's kind of threshold. It gets you in the game. But once you're in the game, it's how you get along with other people, how you handle yourself. Oprah said, so your IQ can tell you what you can do, but it can't tell you how to do it. Daniel said, that's right. So when he asked who's smartest kids in your class, only 2 or 3, right? And then this majority of people, even though they are smart, they are IQs. So a room full of CEOs, sounds like they are all like smart people, right? They should all have the high IQs. They're CEOs, right? But only 2 or 3 would like to lift up their hand. That means that other people do not think they are smart. That's interesting. So how you handle yourself. Next one from Sean Archer. Intelligence counts for only 25% of our job success, 75% of our success in life, and not just about jobs, but within the working world. 75% of what causes our kids to be successful, causes us to be successful, is not about our intelligence and technical skills. It's how we process the world. How we process the world. It's our optimism, like the belief that our behavior really matters. That I believe optimism, how we process the world in my world. I would put in my notes here is like our faith and our mindset, right? So this is the combination both of our spirituality and also our mindset. This is so beautiful. Let me show you if you can see it. Beautiful picture, right? Beautiful flowers, by the way. Let's see, harmony. Oh, this is even more. How many pages? Let me see if I can finish tonight. Okay. So now another page of the, I don't know if this is a seawater or what. Seawater, maybe. The least compassionate thing you can do when someone is not equipped to be doing what they are doing is to leave them in that role. They lose confidence and self-esteem. They take that back to their teams. People see that you are leaving them in the role, which undermines your ability to lead. And the worst of all is that individual who no longer believes in themselves, who is losing their sense of self. They are taking that energy home. They are taking that energy home to their families. That's from Jeff Winner. That means leave them in that role. They are not equipped to be doing what they are doing, so they need help. Okay, they need help, but they leave them there. And they lose their confidence, self-esteem, and they bring that back to the families. That's definitely not good, right? It's definitely not like a fulfilling thing. Next one from Westmore. I did just come back from Afghanistan and was talking with my mentor who asked, what are you planning on doing next with your life? And I told him I was going to go work on Wall Street. That means he's a veteran, and he just returned from Afghanistan as a like an army soldier or whatever, like from the army, right? So he's going to next step is to work on Wall Street, and I expected him to be excited, and he was like, "Really?" And I told him, "That's not an answer that I thought you were going to give me." And he said, "Why are you going to do that?" And I started giving him all these reasons. Oprah said, "I'm going to help my grandparents." Well, said my grandparents, I'm helping my family financially. I'm going to be around really smart people, all this kind of stuff. And he said to me, he just explained to me for the past 3 minutes why you're doing it. And not once did the words, "because I'm passionate," came out of your mouth. And he said, "Listen, Wes, I'm never going to judge you, and I'm never going to judge the decisions you make, particularly if you feel like they are in the best interest of your family. The only thing I ask is this: the moment that you feel that you can leave that place, leave. Because every moment you stay longer than you will become extraordinarily ordinary." My God, that's a great mentoring, right? Extraordinary, ordinary. It's really like a Wall Street or whatever. It's like boring to people. Like it's like a system now. That felt like an indictment, because I feel like we all spend our time trying to be extraordinary in some way, shape, or form. And the idea that you think you're doing what is the right thing to do, and the person is telling you, but the longer you do it, you will become extraordinarily ordinary. Because if you're not passionate about it, then you will never be able to fall into your own truth. Let me highlight this one. If you're not passionate about it, then you'll never be able to fall into your own truth. So are you living your truth? Are you passionate about it? So it's falling into your truth. Oprah said, absolutely. When you were first told about going to Wall Street, though, you said, in the back of my mind, I heard the rattle of expensive handcuffs. It's like no freedom anymore, right? You will be like, oh my God, it's just like a bee screwed in such kind of like a machine. Okay, Wes said, yes, those things are real. It's like, well, now my kids are going to this school, or I have a second car I have to take care of, whatever it is, those things that we are now making decisions based on. Oprah said, yes, I got here. Now I have to keep doing this to maintain the life as I now know it. Wes said, that's exactly right. Oprah said, had you been feeling a sense of unease or unhappiness? Were you all the way to unhappy, or just a sense of what am I doing? Wes said, it was actually, I think, an interesting marriage of both, that I was having a difficult time understanding which one was which. Where I felt like I knew with everything going on that this wasn't where my job lasted. I knew it was incredibly risky to get out, but I think I had to make a very conscious decision that I would rather flirt with failure than never dance with my joy. That's interesting, right? I would rather flirt with failure than never dance with my joy. You want to dance with the joy. Today we were talking about a dance with your destiny, dance to create your path. Because I felt like I was constantly searching through an occupation to find my joy. And I realized it's not about your occupation, it's about your work, because they are two different things. Very interesting, right? He's differentiated occupation and your work. My work was where my greatest joy actually started combining with the word greatest leap. And that's when I said to myself, it's what really real service is. Okay, so let me see. Where my greatest joy actually started combining with the word greatest needs. And it means find the leads, find people's problems, to solve their problem, like use your best gifts, and there where you find your greatest joy, right? So that's what the real service is. Real service is really out of your passion and also your like your joy. And it's not just for occupation or like career or making money. Now, next one is Shonda Rhimes. When I was a kid, my father used to say to me all the time, the only limit to your success is your own imagination. And I took that as not just being financial success or work success. I took that as being every kind of success, love and the family and emotional and everything. The only limit to your success is your own imagination, right? Whatever you can imagine is possible. As a successful woman, a single mother of 3 who constantly gets asked the question, how do you do it all? The answer is, I don't. If I'm accepting a prestigious award, I'm missing my baby's first swim lesson. If I'm at my daughter's debut in her school musical, I'm missing Sandra Oh's last scene ever being filmed on Grey's Anatomy. If I'm succeeding at one, I'm inevitably failing at the other. That's a trade-off, And yet I want my daughters to see me and know me as a woman who works. I want that example set for them. I like how proud they are when they come to my offices and know that they are come to Shanda land. There is a land and it is named after their mother. Shanda land. Wonderful, right? So instead of just like accompanying your kids for every like detailed activities or events, do not miss all of any one of that, but focus on become who you truly called to become and make yourself work and make yourself become their pride. And someone can inspire them to model. Next one, Devon Franklin. You are fulfilled when you get up in the morning. So many times we get up in the morning, we are depressed, we are down, we are angry. So I want to put this first sentence there. You're fulfilled when you get up in the morning. Okay. But when you can wake up saying, I'm glad to be alive, there is purpose to this day. To me, that is success. If you wake up every morning like that, right? And I would argue that once you have that internal success, love this, internal success, when externally it's just a manifestation of what happens internally in the best possible way. Okay. Then externally it's just a manifestation. Okay. So that means Devon Franklin suggests us to focus on the internal success. I love this term, internal success. Then the external is just a manifestation of what happens internally in the best possible way. Okay. So I love this one. So every morning when you wake up, feel that it's fulfilled. Okay. Feel like I'm glad to be alive. That's gratitude. This is a purpose. There is a purpose to this day. So wake up every morning aligned with your purpose, with your meaning, with your vision. That's every morning I've been doing abundance meditation. Okay, it's great. From Devon Franklin. Wow, we finally finished the chapter 9. And tomorrow we will go to the last chapter. Chapter 10 is about love and connection. That will be a wonderful chapter, right? So let me show you this picture. It's like a fulfilling picture, right? So here we're ending up here and look forward to come back. And this time, this book we cannot finish by the end of April. We're a little bit into May, but quite soon after we finish the book, we'll get into the next book. But let's do not rush, right? Because this is purely beautiful book with all the like jewels of wisdom and great insights, like life-changing insights from Superstar Conversations. I really love reading this and I hope you would love reading it as well. So everyone, enjoy your, today is what? Today's Monday, right? Wow, it's Monday. It's a long Monday. So enjoy. I'm glad that I'm ending this day with this beautiful reading, this kind of a spiritual journey, another growth, another learning, right? Another connection with those star leaders. So beautiful. And we will see you soon on our Instagram. I just do a few minutes quick summary of what's today's best highlight. I've already got the idea. What's my best highlight there? And maybe you can guess. Okay, we will see you both on our YouTube channel for a full reading abundance journey and also on our Instagram for highlights, daily everyday highlights. Okay, everyone, see you soon. Take good care. Bye-bye.